Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. So, got another little consultation for you. Got one of several, quite a few videos on the docket to make, so I will be getting to those over the coming days. I may be getting them to them a lot faster depending on whether or not I get furloughed tomorrow. Don't really know whether or not I will be considered essential. I'd give it a 50-50 shot. Anywho, our consultee today writes to us with Aloha Bowl. I have been seeing my deadlift numbers improve, but I have had failure at my grip strength in particular. What smaller but helpful things surrounding grip strength could you tell me to do to improve my grip strength? It's more or less what he's writing about. I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but that's what happens when you get consults from the Discord instead of at askbullmuscle@gmail.com, which is the way I prefer it because I can come up with a much more coherent way to present the topic. This one, I'm more or less just kind of riffing. But I get it, effort in, effort out. Anywho, so grip strength. It is necessary for pretty much all of your pulling exercises and a large part of your leg exercises. So let's get into it. Grip strength primarily comes down to two major factors. The first are the small muscles within your hand and the grip that you can get from friction, which if you've got calluses, real nice, gnarly, nasty ones like these that you can scratch the side of your face with the palm of your hand, you get a little bit extra something. But it's mostly the grip strength in your individual fingers. Go look at a picture of any professional rock climber and look at his fingers, and they're massive and they look disgusting. And I mean that as the best possible compliment. They look gnarly as hell because they have tons of grip strength. Because as it turns out, you need a lot of grip strength to support a human body when you're hanging off of a rock face. The second, and probably more consequential muscle regarding grip strength for most of us is your brachioradialis. That's this guy. It's your forearm, right? So your brachioradialis muscle, right? This guy is going to be critical for most of your gym grip strength exercises. That's not to say something like rock climbing won't help. It will. So if you like rock climbing and you want to improve your grip strength, well, do more rock climbing. That 100% excellent option. But as far as the gym is concerned, we can boil it down. So for the gym in general, you're going to have mostly pulling exercises and then also deadlifts, any variants thereof. So with those, the way to improve your grip strength are for certain variations of uh, these workouts. Let me explain. If you want to work your brachioradialis in particular, if you want to work this muscle, a reverse curl where you are curling the bar up like this with your palms facing out or forward is going to be more effective than curling the bar up like this with your palms supinated facing yourself. So something like a reverse curl with an easy bar or with a straight bar will be very helpful in helping build your brachioradialis. Another one you can do, either pronated or supinated. In fact, I recommend you alternate, and I did these today, are wrist curls. So you find a bench and put your arms crossways, right? So if the bench is kind of coming towards the screen, you put them crossways and then you curl down and you curl up. You curl down, you curl up. You can see my brachioradialis flexing. Same thing, other way. You can do a lot more weight supinated than pronated, of course. Those are good. That wrist curls, I'll throw that in on my pull day exercise, at least 3 sets, and I'll alternate. Other good grip strength improving exercises, pull ups, my kingdom for more pull ups. People sleep on how good an exercise the pull up is. To me, it is every bit in the tier of bench, squat, and deadlift. It's part of what I like to call the big six: bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press, pull ups, and rows. Right? If you get all of those six, those are really the six exercises you need to do more than any of the others in the gyms. They're your big compound workouts. There's a lot to be said for other exercises too, and that's not to say you should only do those six, but those six are probably the most useful. Pull-ups in particular, you can do with loads of different grips to move stress from right your lats to your biceps and even your rear delts if you really want to get crazy with some of the angles. But in any case, you will have to rely and work on your grip strength. So my advice to you is do pull-ups. If you can't do pull-ups, use a rubber band or an exercise band. You can also just do a basic dead arm hang. If you're really like your lats and biceps are both shot, but your grip strength is still holding on, you want to really test your grip strength, do a dead arm hang until you can't hold on anymore. Um, Even better if you do it weighted, of course. Excuse me. Um, As for deadlifts, one deadlift technique I recommend is using an oppo grip. Just make sure you do an even number of sets and switch your hands. Romanian deadlift can also work grip strength pretty well. Romanian deadlift, go for a double overhand grip because the whole point is kind of to work on that eccentric motion. To me, doing a Romanian deadlift for like super heavy weight for fewer than 5 reps is kind of silly. The point of doing a Romanian deadlift to me is really working on that hypertrophy, stretching those muscles in the posterior chain, particularly your hamstrings, and also getting some good grip strength training in the process. Other ones that are good for grip strength are farmer's walks. So take any sort of weight, can be dumbbells, can be barbells, can be a trap bar, whatever, and just walking with it, right? That one's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Same with barbell bent over rows. You can do them underhand. You can do them underhand. You can do them overhand. Any of those good pulling exercises will improve your grip strength. You just got to work really hard at it. What I will say is you can get to the point of using straps. Lifting straps, I would not recommend until you've gotten a little bit more advanced, just because you don't. What I would recommend for lifting straps is don't use them on everything. If you're getting to the point where your grip strength is failing in sort of your second half of the workout, but you still think you've got a little bit more to burn on your lats or your biceps, that's when straps can come in handy because that means you can more fully work those muscles and improve the strength training. However, right, like for my first lift today, I did bent over rows, and coincidentally, I did set a PR today. The first time I've ever did bent over barbell rows and hit 315, but hit it for two, hit 300 for four, and hit 275 for eight. So pretty stoked about that. Anyway, uh, for your big compound movements, your pull-ups, which by the way, weighted pull-ups, fantastic once you get to that point. But do assisted if you can't get full regular pull-ups. You should work to be able to do a pull-up on your own. Every man should be able to do that. And frankly, I think every woman should as well. Yes, it's harder for women. No, that shouldn't stop you. Um, but pull ups, be they weighted, be they assisted, whatever, excellent for grip strength training. Uh, Shrugs, there's another good one. Working on shrugs is a fantastic way to train it as well. You can do block deadlift or rack pulls, I guess. I think at that point you might as well just set up and do the full deadlift, get some work on your lower body while you're at it. But it's just me. Uh, that is really the meat of them. Couple other exercises I would recommend. If you've never heard of rice bucket training is where you take a bucket, you fill it with rice, as the name might suggest, and you stick your hand in and you do like gripping, squeezing, moving your hands in circles, and all sorts of different ways to kind of like knead the rice. You can do this with making bread. If you like bread, kneading dough for a long time, that will work your grip strength because your hands will get tired. So those are two more unconventional ways to do it. I love rice bucket training. I need to get myself a bucket. It's on the to-do list one of these days. I just haven't really done it yet. Trouble is, every time I go to Home Depot, I find buckets, but not any with lids. So if any of y'all see this video and know a good place to get a bucket with a lid, because I don't want the rice to spoil, like I want to use it eventually, So you're going to boil it anyway. So any bacteria that gets on it, you wash your wash your hands before you use rice in the rice bucket. Rice bucket training, if regardless of whether or not you intend to actually cook with it. But I'll wash my hands, and then as time goes on, I'll use some of it and then cook it, and then once I'm out, okay, well then I'll go and get more. Um, a lot of people say, "Oh, that's disgusting." You're boiling it. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You could do this with sand as well. You could go to the beach and just with sand, which for me is easier to do. I reckon a lot of people don't have access to a beach, but you could do it with mud as well if you really wanted to get dirty. But you could do it with rice, sand, mud, any small malleable thing like that. Generally pretty good for this. There are grippers and that little roller uh, apparatus at the gym. I'm less of a fan of those. Those always kind of feel kind of gimmicky to me. But if you get results from them, use them. That's about it as far as grip strength is concerned. Really, it's just like anything else. You got to progressively overload the muscle. But I would recommend maybe, if you find that grip strength is kind of a weak point or it's really starting to hinder your ability to do the workout, maybe throw in some rice bucket training or some wrist curls at the end or during your workout to boost those brachioradialis a little bit more. As for your hands, the big compound movements are what helps those. That's what I've found. Especially because all these calluses, they create a larger coefficient of friction, and it does help. And yeah, you're gonna fucking tear up your calluses sometimes. And if you work in fashion like I do occasionally, you'll get people who, or you'll even get women who are grossed out by the fact you got calluses on your hands. And that's their problem, not yours. Calluses are proof that you put work into something, right? This, this right here, these bad boys, and this one right here, that's work. You can't fake that. To me, I'm very proud of those. And I have met, it's not all women, because I've met gym girls who have calluses almost like mine. And that's the kind of woman, that's the kind of woman a man deserves in his life. I'll put it that way. Hell yeah, much respect, because they understand the value of hard work. There is nothing masculine or feminine about calluses. Calluses are just good, period. Doesn't matter who has them. Uh, you could, if you like rope climbing, that's another good one. Uh, if you have hikes in your area that require lots of rope climbing, that might work pretty well. Um, that's really about it as far as immediate ones. You could do wrestling or grappling exercises, but I don't think that really works as well to specifically train grip strength because you're not gripping as much most of the time. But that's really about all I got for you. I hope this was helpful. If you want more specifics, you got to tell me a little bit more specifically as to what you're looking to achieve. So, as always, if y'all are looking for a consultation, write to me at askbullmuscle@gmail.com. Sometimes I will do consultations based on what is said in the Discord, or it'll inspire me to make an original, but it's a lot easier when you guys directly write me because then I can reference it and write down exactly how I want to present the topic, as opposed to Discord where I have to go hunting for messages and reread conversations. It's just really annoying. So, anywho, askbullmuscle@gmail.com. As always, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your actions. Those actions form your habits. Those habits form your values. Those values form an ethos. Can be the guide start the rough waters of life. Much love. Come in for the hug. Shoots, y'all. I will probably be back a few hours later with a second video. We are 3/4 of the way through the year 2025, and it is time for me to check in with my yearly goals to see how I'm doing as we enter the final quarter.